Elyse DeLucci Show. I'm Elyse. We're in my living room on the Upper East Side. How are you doing? Oh my goodness, I didn't post an episode last week. I apologize. I was so busy with shows and whatnot. I performed at a funeral home. You know, that's winning. That we'll get into it. Anyway, fact of the day. A few animal facts for you. I'll tell you where they're coming from. Well, why don't I just tell you that I took my kids to the Bronx Zoo last week and we had a fabulous time. But I got in the rabbit hole of all the animal kingdom because they're making me crazy. These kids. They would walk, Mommy, why are the flamingos pink? It's like, well, because they eat a lot of shrimp. So if I eat a lot of shrimp, Mommy, why turn pink? It's like I don't have the answers to all of these questions. Dolls. But Mommy will try. So there I am, turning Google inside out, as we all do at 3 a.m, and I'm coming up with all kinds of animal facts, like in the UK, the Queen legally owns all of the unmarked swans. Okay, she owned this broad's owning everything. Okay, she's got all the jewels locked up in a tower somewhere. She owns all the unmarked swans. And on the government note, do you know what a group of owls is called? A group of owls is called a parliament. A parliament. They're so cute because that all came about because the girls are like, Mommy, well, the flamingos, there's more than one flamingos. And I said, no, it's actually called a flamboyant. So, of course, then we're there. And I had to explain that sometimes animals have different names for multiples, the school of fish, and of course owls, a parliament, as if I knew that. I knew nothing of the sort. The only thing I know about an owl is that the Tootsie Roll Pop commercial from the 80s, and the fact that I think that they're scary. Okay, we have a white owl flying around in Central Park. And my kids are obsessed with it when they see pictures of this white owl perched up on the trees high. It's like some rare owl. They love it. But, yeah, so that's where we are. They want to know why an owl is wise. I had to explain to them that it's wise because in Greek mythology, there was the goddess of wisdom, Athena, and she had, a wise owl near her. When you're a parent, nobody tells you you're going to have to come up with all of these answers for everything. I'm so tired. I'm tired. People say to me, Elyse, how do you do this? You work in the stand-up. I say, that is actually, that's nothing. That's nothing. All the writing, the performing, the performing at work, all of this is nothing compared to the answers that I have to give these kids. Ay, ay, ay. But we did go to the Bronx Zoo, and it was so nice. I haven't been to the Bronx Zoo for 20 years. 20 years. We have a membership there. And it was a nice thing to do, to be honest. There's actually a bus from the Upper East Side of Manhattan you could just take straight to the zoo. But I drove because the parking was included in the membership. It's like everything else. I've talked about these memberships, museums. You go twice and you get your money's worth. And living in the city, I mean, I don't have tons of things for us to do in the house. Of course we do baking and beading and painting and all the art sort of things and dress up. But when it comes to going out, it's like Central Park, mosey around on the streets, or go to one of these places where you have to, there's these ticketed places. So the zoo is fabulous. Way better than the Central Park Zoo. Central Park Zoo, it's like amateur hour. It's nice that there's a zoo in Central Park, but going to the Bronx Zoo and seeing a rhinoceros, it's a little crazy. And of course, I mean, if you've been to any zoo, it's the same thing. But you walk, there you are walking down the zoo, and all of a sudden, you see a group of people all flocked onto the left side, and you go over to them, and they're looking at a rhino, and then you keep walking, and then all of a sudden you're seeing a zebra, and then next thing you know, you're with the gorillas, and you just can't believe that you're in the Bronx. It's just the wildest thing ever. You know what else is wild? You're gonna die. You're really gonna die. Well, I should say, let me lead in with you're going to die with. I had a show at the funeral parlor last week. I posted about it, back in the winter. I did a video. I was in the house with my boyfriend in the dead of winter, and we were all on lockdown. The kids were with their father, and my boyfriend tells me, it's so annoying. He tells me he's on a diet. Why is he on a diet? I can't. But this is because everybody was completely immobile. Everybody was gaining their COVID-19. So he tells me he's on a diet. Hilarious. And I had to escape the house to go get a snack, as I do best, a covert food mission. Next thing I know, I'm on Madison Avenue, and I hear this beautiful music and orchestra and this whole spread of snacks, hot cocoa, little sandwiches catered from Butterfield Market over here on the Upper East Side. And it was the funeral parlor that had their community event. Next thing I know, I'm doing a show there. So I had the show. I know I told you this already, but I had the show. And it was so great. It was 120 people, sold out show. It was free, but totally free. And it's just this thing that they do, the funeral parlor. You know, it's this very fancy place that the who's who of the world gets waked there, because they have extremely high security, a lot of covert, not to use the word twice, procedures to keep privacy safe and all that kind of thing. And this funeral parlor, it's a 17,000 square foot. You know, it's like a big townhouse sort of structure, and it's legendary. I mean, Greta Garbo was waked there. That says something, no? So I did the show there, and it was funny because when I arrived at the show, I dressed a little bit. I tried to dress a little bit dressier than I normally do for my sets, and when I got there, the owner was very nice, and he welcomes me and the whole bit. And he wants to show me around. So he's showing me the spread of food. They had, again, catering, sandwiches, pasta salads, sodas, sparkling waters, Perrier, and Pellegrino, I'll have you know. Really, a crazy class act. They had everything set up, and he wanted to take me into the, air quotes, showroom to do a mic check and a lighting check. So I said, okay, and he swings open the doors, right? He swings open the doors to the showroom, and I literally I gasped, and I said to him, oh, this really is a funeral parlor. And he was just like, yeah, what did you think? And I'm like, no, I know it is. Like, I've been here before, but I wasn't expecting pews. That's the thing. When I envisioned the show, I envisioned, for whatever reason, it being in a large room with some sort of seating, like folding chairs, rows of chairs. I wasn't expecting a pew. And then where we were actually performing, if you saw in any of the pictures, it was where they laid the casket. So it was like a little eerie, and I was definitely taken aback. But once the people came in, it wound up going really smoothly, and you kind of forgot the fact that you are performing in a spot where, all these dead people were laid out. Joan Rivers, Jackie O, Michael Jackson. Little weird. But they had a green room for us, and it was beautiful. It was really beautiful. After the show, the business, they had us upstairs for a little meet and greet, a champagne meet and greet. And, it's funny who comes to a community event. There was media there, and there was some dignitaries, councilmen, from New York State councilman, but there was also the priest. The priest from my church was there, which I wasn't even expecting. Saint Ignatius, of Loyola. He was there. The bishop from the Greek church on the Upper East Side in the 70s. It was really just so nice. And the funeral parlor, they're doing some renovations, and they were like, maybe we could do a part 2. I'm like, sure. As long as it's a live audience, I'm in. I am totally in. So it was great. It was great. We had to close the doors because everybody was dying to come. My mother was like, a funeral parlor? Really? Is this what's going on with this little thing called stand up you're doing? I mean, I said, Mom, listen. Is it a job or is it an honor? I don't know. The fact, though, that something came out of a social media post, something that really materialized into a beautiful event, a paying job, it was really like something wonderful. I was really happy with it. Anywho, I read the craziest thing the other day for all of my girl listeners, okay, female listeners. Well, actually, this is a stat for all of you people. I just couldn't believe it. So Full time I'm in digital and tech at a financial company, right? And that's what I've been. That's sort of the where in business I've been for the last decade. I have a relatively new-ish job, but I've been in finance, and so. I read things here and there, and I came across this article. I don't know how I missed it when Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away, but do you know the year, the year when women were finally able to apply for credit? Yeah, it's like, okay, so let me back up. Okay, so in the 1920s, us girls, we all were able, we earned the right to vote. Oh, thank you. Oh, my doorbell. Who's ringing my doorbell at this time? Gotta go. Hold on 1 second. I'm back. It was the pharmacy delivering. I'm not going to sit here and complain that I have prescriptions delivered right to my front door. But, when, you're on a call or recording something, who wants to hear the doorbell? It just goes to show you that this is a very real production here at Elyse DeLucci house. Anywho. So in the 1920s, us girls, we earned the right to vote. Oh, thank you. Did I say that already? But it was shocking to me to find out that we were able to vote, us women, but we weren't able to do other things like, I don't know, get a mortgage. How about get a credit card? So here it is. Women could not apply for a credit card, a mortgage, a home loan, nothing at a bank until 1974. Can you believe that? Can you believe? My mind, when I read this a week ago, and my mind is still blown. There was the Equal Credit Opportunity Act of 1974. It was signed into law. This Equal Credit Opportunity Act was signed into law in 1974. And prior to that, brace yourself. A bank could refuse to issue a credit card to an unmarried woman or a single woman. So, maybe you had a boyfriend. Maybe you have a fiance. Maybe you're just, you're just a spinster. You're not getting a credit card or a mortgage. You know how you're getting it? Only if you're married and your husband offered or agreed to co-sign the application. Can you believe that? What fucking nerve. I've never heard of anything so ridiculous in my life. I mean, and I don't go around saying, oh, I'm a feminist, I'm this and that, because I'm not really into labels and stuff. But, when everything's laid out on the table, when things are on paper, I am. And the fact that right now I'm a unmarried woman, and if I wanted to, and if it was, say, 1970, and I wanted to go to the bank to get a credit card because I wanted to buy a couple new outfits for Studio 54, I would not be able to, okay, because I don't have a husband. Yeah, so the Supreme Court cases obviously was the thing that got this in, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, part of her legacy was that if it wasn't for her, if she didn't fight for this, us girls, who knows when we would have been able to get a credit card? Is that not the most insane thing you've ever heard? I couldn't even believe it. I could not. I absolutely couldn't believe it, but we've come a long way, ladies. We've come a long way, 50 years. Just not that long ago. My grandmother's such an independent woman. My grandfather, her husband, he passed away when she was in her mid-50s, which is just so sad. And they were married for 35 years. But she's so independent. After he died, she traveled all over the world. She just learned to live life on her own. She never wanted to get remarried. It was just not her thing. And the fact that if my grandmother wanted to get a credit card, she wasn't able to, or a mortgage, buy a second home or something, that wouldn't have been allowed, is just absolute insanity to me. Anywho, Gloria Vanderbilt, you know her? Fashion designer. Gloria Vanderbilt jeans. Actress, artist, yada yada. Anderson Cooper's mother. Well, her apartment is on the market in Manhattan. It's on Beekman Place, and it's listed for $1.1 million. Which, here's the thing: that's a big chunk of dough. It is. It's a big chunk of dough. But for Manhattan, it's not. Now, is it to me? Yes, there's a lot of money to me, but it's crazy to me. This her apartment. She lived there forever. She died there at the age of 95. It's on Beekman Place in Midtown East, and that's the price of it, and it's for sale. Usually these apartments where celebrities or artists, whatever these people. I don't want to say she's somebody of history, but she is. I mean, where these people they live. Just based on the fact that someone notable lived there, usually drives up the cost. But $1.1 million, that's how much it is. You can look it up. It's gorgeous. It's decorated, beautiful. It's 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. It's a $1.1 million. And they, the listing said it needed updates. I just looked at the pics, but here's the thing. For 3 bedrooms and 2.5 baths at $1.1 million, that's kind of a bargain. But I'm going to guess that the maintenance on the apartment is very high, the monthly maintenance. It's probably a co-op. And in co-ops, that's the your tax and the building maintenance rolled into one cost. If you owned a condo in Manhattan, which you own the actual dirt, it's 2 separate costs. But the co-op is maintenance and taxes rolled into one. I'm going to guess that the maintenance is high. I'm going to guess that it maybe needs some updating. But also, Beekman Place is so far east. It's so far east. That drives the cost down a little bit. But, yeah, 3 beds, 2.5 baths, 1.1 mil. And Gloria Vanderbilt. If that's what does it for you, that's kind of a little barguna, I have to say. There was I didn't see it, but I do want to watch it on HBO. Back 5 years ago or so, there was they had a documentary called Nothing Left Unsaid. It was Gloria Vanderbilt and her son Anderson Cooper, and it was just conversations between Gloria and Anderson, talking about her family and her life in the public eye. And I can't remember. They're so I actually worked for somebody that was part of the Burden family, which is Burdens and Vanderbilts. They're all all these old money families are all sort of, I don't want to say incestuous, but they're all woven together, and they do have a very interesting family history. You should check it out if it interests you. If it interests you. Little bit of goss. Vanderbilt, she owed a lot of money in back taxes, and she had other homes. She had a home on the Upper East Side, a different home on the Upper East Side. She had a big house in Southampton, but she had to sell it because Anywho, NFTs. So here's the thing. I go back and forth, and I it's good to get your opinion on this, for the listeners there. I'm a comic, obviously, and most of you know me as a comic doing my bits. Of course, like anybody else, we have all these different interests, and we've talked about it before, and I'm a cryptocurrency trader and investor and all that kind of stuff. But since 2017, so it's not like just a new thing. But sometimes people ask me serious questions, and then other times people say, oh, you should just stick to your funny stuff. But it's like, I'm sorry, I don't wake up making everybody laugh. Like, that's not usually how it goes, for everybody. But I do have a lot to talk about, like NFTs and whatnot, and I don't know if I even should ever go down those roads. I talked about having guests, and if you're interested, again, let me know. But NFTs, they're hot on my mind right now because non-fungible tokens, if you don't know what that stands for, NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So I will just talk about it for a minute because some of you girls tell me, well, I'm single, Elyse, and I listen to your podcast, and then sometimes if you say certain things, I like to listen to these things from you and other people or in the papers, and I like to use them as sound bites on my dates, and that, of course, that just completely pulls at my heartstrings. But anyway, if you have a date with a guy and you want to impress him, you should talk to him about NFTs. So it's all, you cannot watch the news, you cannot read the newspaper without hearing about non-fungible tokens. So let me just tell you what they are if you are curious. So I think to understand what an NFT is, you have to understand what fungible is, what that means. So fungible is like money. Money, a currency is fungible. So for example, if you have $20, if you have $20 and you can interchange that $20 for two tens or two fives and a 10 or 20 singles, and it's still worth $20. You could have two tens or you could have 120 and it's all worth the same. That's fungibility. It's interchangeable. Non-fungible assets are considered a piece of art or a house or a car. You can't just say, well, I bought this this Toyota for $10,000, and whether it's now or in 25 years, it's always going to be worth $10,000. It's non-fungible. It's not like currency where those two tens and a 20 both equal the same thing, right? So that's a non-fungible asset. So NFTs, really what it is digital art. So art, because it's non-fungible, that is created on the blockchain, which is a digital ledger. Okay, so like how you have a ledger, if you keep, a written ledger, your books in your house, some sort of ledger of all the money or all transactions or anything that's going in and out of the house or whatever. This is a digital ledger, so it's on something called the blockchain. The blockchain is digital ledger. So the NFT is a piece of digital art that's created on the blockchain. So it has a long alphanumeric string, okay, that's attached to it. That's so what you see visually maybe on your screen, if you're looking at an NFT and say it's an NFT of Pop-Tart Cat that sold for like, I don't know, $300,000 or $600,000 like 6 months ago or something. If you're seeing on your screen a picture of, Pop-Tart Cat, this pixelated cat with rainbows, just Google it. Google Pop-Tart Cat NFT. Do yourself a favor. It's called like Nyan Cat, Nyancat. Anyway, if you Google that, what you're seeing is the cat and the rainbow and the Pop-Tarts. And that's the piece of art. Somebody created that piece of art. But behind it is a string of, when I say behind, I mean like, in the back underworlds of the web is a long alphanumeric string that shows that it belongs to a certain digital creator, and that's who owns it, and that's how that's the signature, so to speak. So when an NFT, so this NFT is the same as this digital signature, and if you want to buy an NFT, right? You're essentially buying this original piece of art, and then you could see where it's tracked along the way. Okay, are we following? So essentially, NFT, it's a digital. It's just the same thing as a physical collector's item, like a piece of art, like a Mona Lisa, but it's digital. So instead of getting an actual oil painting of the Mona Lisa to hang on your wall, you, the buyer, you're getting the digital file. Okay. So it's very interesting because up until the creation of NFTs, paintings, they could be forged, signatures, they could be forged. They could go burn in a fire and just never surface the planet again. But an NFT is the buyer gets that digital rights. And an NFT can only have one owner at a time. So if you are going to, if you have an NFT of a Mona Lisa, or if you have an NFT of, I don't know, anything, a picture of a water bottle, right? Whatever it is, you can sell your rights to that picture, which is like a JPEG or a PNG, whatever, GIF. You can sell that in an online marketplace, an NFT marketplace, where people are buying and selling these digital collector items, right? And then you set the price, and then somebody else will buy it, and then they have they get the exclusive ownership rights, right? Does that make sense? So it's an interesting concept. If you want to check out NFTs, where you can buy them, you can look on a website called Rarible. Rarible, Rarible, or what I use is OpenSea, OpenSea.io, and you can just see these weird things that are selling and people are buying, and it's like a status item. In some regards, like somebody might have that real Picasso hanging in their thing. Well, you might have one of the original CryptoPunks that came out in 2017, right? CryptoPunks is NFT. Now these things, they're sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And, it's like you might have a fancy car, G-Wagon, you might have a Rolex, well, or this other person might have this CryptoPunk NFT that's worth a lot of money. Are you really going to put the CryptoPunk NFT, this digital file, in a picture frame and hang it on your wall? You might, but what is it really that you own? You own those digital rights to the asset, right? So that's what it is. People might say, older generations might say, and my generation is also included, by the way, in the older generations, those people might say, well, what's the point of having this? I don't understand. What the hell is the point? If I'm not going to display this anywhere, if I can't drive it anywhere, if I can't wear it anywhere, if I can't show it off at my dinner party, then I have this, whatever NFT. What's the point of it? It's just like an asset. It's just like an asset. But to let you know, if you want to buy an NFT, you first need to get a digital wallet that allows you to store your NFTs, right? Because they don't come delivered in the mail, the snail mail. This alphanumeric string where your ownership rights sit. It sits inside a wallet. And to buy the NFT, I should say, if you wanted to also buy the NFT, you need to have some form of cryptocurrency to do that. So it's Ethereum. ETH is the ticker symbol, or is the symbol for Ether. So it's very complicated. If you're not doing it at all, if you don't have any crypto, if you don't have any digital wallets, if you don't really fully understand the NFT, but if you do understand it, it becomes more easy. If you have the digital wallet and you have some Ether, then you could go on to OpenSea.io and you could check out the NFTs and you could buy. And not all NFTs, let me say this, not all NFTs are worth money, right? So there's billions of them out there right now. But I have a few, not the CryptoPunks one. I didn't get on that bandwagon. I should have because they are worth an absolute freaking fortune. But I do have some, and the second I buy them, I actually resell them. I flip them for a higher value. That's what most people do. I could save them if I want, but I'm really just doing more of an experiment sort of thing as opposed to a long-term hold. But it's very, very, very interesting stuff. And if you think about it, what I like about it is, I'm interested in it because I'm in tech and digital, but I am interested in it, and also because it's very buzzy, and I'm interested in topical things. But what I like about it is I like the idea of a digital signature. I like the idea of a digital stamp on an ownership, because who's to say what's real and what's not real, except just the owner. So if you have a Louis Vuitton bag, so what? So you might have the receipt from you bought it in the store. Well, that's all well and good. You might have like an authentic, a certificate of authenticity. Fine, that's good. But other than that, who's to say it's real and not real? This validates the authenticity of things. So, and like anything else, it's NFTs are only worth what somebody else is willing to pay for it, right? So your Louis Vuitton bag probably costs $5 to make in the factory, right? But they're selling them for $1,000, and then you're willing to pay $1,000 for it. So fine, and say it's a rare bag, and then you sell it in 5 years. Well, maybe then it's worth $1,500. That's the market. So it's market economics here. But NFTs are risky because the future of them is uncertain. We don't have any history to judge performance, so it's not like the Louis Vuitton bag that might be valuable or hold its value in time. We don't know what this is going to be. So if you want to look into it, I would recommend investing a small amount. If you want to hear more about this, again, feel free to ping me or whatever. If you're like, Elyse, look, like I love you, but I really don't give a shit about that kind of stuff that you talk about, then that works too. And I'm interested in hearing the feedback. But as I said before, I can't always bring people in to talk about this stuff. I sometimes feel, and let me just say this, this whole podcast is really just my life, like a small slice of life of what's going on in my world. But I feel that a lot of these things, when it comes to specifically like a lot of tech things, crypto, the different types of cryptos, how to buy it, what to hold, what's an NFT, all that. It's there's things online that you could find that are in layman's terms, but sometimes it helps when you have like a friend explain it to you. You know what I'm saying? That's like I just did with the Louis Vuitton bag. Sometimes that can help. But anyway, happy to talk more, bring an expert on. I am not an expert. I'm not a registered investment advisor whatsoever. I'm just telling you giving you my personal opinions and my personal decisions. If you have $30 that you spend on cocktails one night or at a manicure, pedicure, whatever, maybe it's worth trying to buy an NFT and exploring that world. So that's that. On the nail salon note, I want to just someone tell me that who are these girls running around with the long nails, 5-inch long nails? How are you doing anything? How are you I just got my nails done the other day, and I got the French I got a V French. I did a little bit of throwback. Not the new V French where it's like the coffin shaped nails, where it's a very thin V. This is like a thicker V French. I actually had it when I got married, a long time ago. And anyway, when I was in the salon, the lady asked me if I wanted tips. Tips. And she pulls out this board because I went to the nail place that actually does designs. And I said to her, how are people doing anything with these long nails? How? I want to know. How are you washing dishes, peeling an orange, changing your tampon? TMI, but really, how are you doing this with these giant nails? Can you imagine? You imagine changing your daughter's diaper, braiding your kid's hair with these claws? I literally I'm convinced that Cardi B, she has somebody doing everything for her. Zipping her dresses, buttoning the top button on her jeans. They're completely not practical. I like the look. I do. I like a look. I like a look, but not enough. I'm not enough to be a slave to fashion like that, I'll say. So I have my V French manicure on my natural long nails, but they're not as long as, they're not as long as what's going on in Hollywood right now. A couple more things. One thing is there is a girl, shout out, and I'm your name is escaping me right now, but shout out to the woman that emailed me. She messaged me. She's 35 years old, and by the way, this is why I do think sometimes it's nice to talk about things, more some not serious, but like things like the NFT sort of world. Because I've mentioned my job on this podcast before and here, that, and she says, oh, Elyse, I'm 35 and I'm interested in a career change, and you had mentioned you're in tech and digital, and I'm thinking about doing UX, UI design, which is user experience and user interface design. Do you have anybody that I can talk to, or any tips for me? And I forget what she does for her 9-to-5, her current 9-to-5, her career that she's been doing for the last almost 20 years. But I wrote her back, and I gave her some suggestions for programs that I know that people have taken and gotten a lot out of. And I also gave her a couple of names of people on LinkedIn that she could look into, and I'm happy to make an introduction for her. Maybe, one of these people that are very much in the UX UI world want to, mentor somebody or give her even more sort of bits on how she can get an internship or that kind of thing. So I appreciate you for sending me that message. And let me just tell you this, ladies and men, is that being an Italian, and I don't know how much I said this before, but being an Italian woman in the business world, for me personally, was not always that easy. We are stereotyped. I have a look in my personal life. Look, I like my hair big. I like hot rollers. I love a hoop earring. I love a long nail, and I love a good leopard print. But that's not professional, so I can't do that in my 9-to-5 world. But my Italian name and the upbringing, and maybe even the big gestures and the bigness that comes along with being Italian that we sometimes inherit from our culture or is ingrained in us, isn't so well suited in certain situations in the business world. That's not to say that you can't rein it in. You do have to be a chameleon, right? Everywhere you go. But I will say to you that as an Italian woman, I've had my fair share, my definite fair share of struggles. So I'm a real big advocate, is what I'm trying to say, about women in business, Italian women in business, other ethnicities and races in business. I think that I love a good blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white man Adonis like the next woman, but you know what? There's a lot of that, and let's make room for some of the girls with that come from all over the world. Some of the girls that maybe weren't that don't fit the mold of a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Maybe some of the girls that grew up out in Staten Island, okay? How about that? Because we could do just as good a job as those people and or better, right? So I'm really big in promoting women and young girls and particularly Italians, because I'm Italian and I'm biased, in the work world. So I'm always happy to talk about that, and I do think it's so important. So having said that, my product of the week is not a physical product because we were talking about NFTs. So here you go. In OpenSea.io, there is a creator called 24px, 24px. 24px is the name of the creator. And he creates these NFTs called Pixel Cats, right? There's only about 9,900 of them or 10,000 of them. And there's these pictures, these JPEGs that are very weird looking of like kind of funky looking cats, right? Pixelated cats. And each cat in this collection, in this digital art collection by this 24px, has a different look and feel. Some kitties have heart sunglasses, some have a mohawk, some wearing a beret, some kitties have a mask on them. I know this sounds crazy. So my product of the week is not really a product, it's more of a piece of art, and it's this 24px is the digital artist. Pixel Cats is his creation. I have a couple of these cats in my NFT collection, and you could look them up on OpenSea, and you could look at what I'm talking about. And you're going to say, oh my God, Elyse DeLucci is a nut job because she has bought pixelated pictures of green kitties on the internet. And yes, at the surface, it looks like that, but currently there's value to them. I don't know about long term. So I don't have a specific cat for you to look at, but if you go on OpenSea and you type in 24px, you look up Pixel Cats, and of course, if you're on a date with a guy or a girl or whoever, and we just want to have some interesting conversation with some tech people, you could talk about Pixel Cats and OpenSea and Rareable. You could mention the Beeple NFT that sold at Christie's, a few months ago. And I could tell you that you definitely will impress people. So that's the product of the week. And my quote is by Les Brown, and it's, too many of us are not living our dreams because we're living our fears. Les Brown. Too many of us are not living our dreams because we're too busy living our fears. Don't live your fears, people. Live the life you want to live. That's the best thing that I could possibly say. Live the life you've always wanted. Fuck everybody else. Who needs them? Who cares? Do whatever you got to do. Oh, I love that. I was born for this kind of thing, okay? I was born for it. I'm Elyse DeLucci. Thank you always for listening to my podcast, episode 75. I promise not to go another week with skipping an episode, but I had to perform at a funeral for the live audience, So anyway, follow me on Instagram at Elyse DeLucci, on TikTok at Elyse DeLucci. I am working on shows, as I say. It's a man's world, guys. What can I tell you? I'm working hard. And give me a comment on Apple Podcasts, and I always, as always, really, really appreciate you listening, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye now.